My research in the field of hypnosis has taken me on unimaginable journeys through time and space to explore the history of the past and the possibilities of the future. When I first began my investigations through past life therapy, I thought I would only find people remembering lives on Earth because naturally that was all we knew about. My belief system has really been stretched and extended over the past 40 years. As my work progressed, I was given a great deal of information about the beginning of life on Earth. I was told that this is the time for this knowledge to come forth. We are moving into a new world, a new dimension, where this information will be appreciated and applied. During my work, I have heard much about everything being composed of energy. The shape and form is only determined by the frequency and vibration. Energy never dies, it only changes. I have been told that the Earth is changing its vibration and frequency and preparing to rise into a new dimension. There are countless dimensions surrounding us all the time. We cannot see them because as their vibrations speed up, they are invisible to our eyes. It is important for us to know more about this shift to a new dimension because we're in the middle of it now, and its culmination is coming soon. Earth is a school that we attend and learn lessons, but it is not the only school. You have lived on other planets and in other dimensions. You have done many, many things you cannot even imagine. Many of the people I have worked with in the last few years have regressed to lifetimes where they were light beings living in a state of bliss. They had no reason to come into the Earth's density and negativity. They volunteered to come to help mankind and the Earth at this time. I have encountered what I consider to be 3 waves of these new souls who are living on Earth. They have come at this time because most of those people who have been here for lifetime after lifetime have become bogged down in karma and are not advancing. They have lost sight of their purpose of living on the Earth. In the early days of my work, and in my early books, I thought that it would be impossible for a person to be experiencing their first life on the planet Earth during our present time. I thought it had to be a gradual process, going through the various life forms before becoming human. Air, rocks, soil, plants, animals, nature spirits, and eventually humans. I thought that when a soul decided it was ready to tempt life as a human, it would be in a primitive society so it could adjust slowly. I thought that it could never be suddenly dropped into our hectic modern society with all its chaotic energy. It would be absolutely too much for a newly evolving soul to endure. But then in 1986 I wrote The Bookkeepers of the Garden, about a gentle soul that was experiencing his first life on Earth. He had always had lives on other planets and dimensions. Yet in our first sessions he described several apparent past lives on Earth. So I wondered what was going on. Either reincarnation was true, or it wasn't. But then I was given my first explanation of the imprint theory. People who have lived on Earth, through countless lifetimes, have the memories of these experiences in their subconscious memory banks. Unknown to the conscious mind of the individual, these buried memories are essential to helping them steer their way through the morass of living as a human. Without some type of background, they would not be able to function. The newborn baby appears to come in this imprinting becomes an essential part of the new soul's memory. He asked how he would be able to tell, when working with a client, whether the memories that come forth during regression were real or an imprint. I was told that I would not be able to tell the difference because everything, not only memories, but emotions and everything that made up the lifetime, would also be imprinted. They said, because it was only being used as a reference for the soul, that it didn't matter anyway. Since many famous people's lives are often used as an imprint, this explains the skeptic's criticism that reincarnation does not exist, because many people claim to be the same important person. Imprinting answers that argument. I asked them, does that mean that reincarnation does not exist? If anyone can imprint for other than living the actual experience? They said no, because there have to be lives being lived in order to have material or memories to put into the records. This made perfect sense, and was a method developed so pure, innocent souls could adapt to a foreign, chaotic world. It would be impossible to come to Earth without some preparation. The tender soul would not have anything to relate to, and would be totally unable to cope. After my first experience with Phil, the young men and keepers of the garden, I began to encounter these new souls more frequently. These systemhas are described in the convoluted universe books, so what I had thought was a rare occurrence was now becoming more common. They had been hiding behind their imprints of other lifetimes, and this was what was being presented to other hypnotists and investigators, especially those who only work in the light levels of trance. Because the imprints are chosen for a purpose to be used during their lifetime, the apparent past life will answer some questions, but not the most important. The Snapchat in its infinite wisdom will only give the client what they can handle, and the same is true of a hypnotist. If they are only taking their baby steps into the unknown, they will not be given complex answers. I was not given this information until I was ready to stretch my curiosity. Until recently, I still thought these pure, innocent first-timers were rare, but now they are becoming the norm. The Snapchat is not even bothering to cover it up anymore. Many times the client has not been able to find a past life, no matter how many variations of my technique I try. Then when I contact the Snapchat for clarification, I always ask why we weren't able to find anything. It will sometimes say, we could have shown him something, but it would have only been an imprint. Then it goes on to tell them where they have come from, and their purpose on the planet Earth at this time. There have been a few cases where the subconscious said that the person refused the imprints just before entering the baby's body. It has caused a chaotic life without a plan or purpose. So it seems that they really do know what they are doing. It is we, the humans, who do not understand, or are not capable of comprehending. To fully understand the theory and missing piece that I am about to propose, it is necessary to go back to the beginning, to the seeding of the human race, fresh with nothing to relate to, until taught by its parents and society. But this is far from true. The so-called baby is actually a very old soul that has had hundreds of journeys into the complicated scenario we call life. This gives it something to use as a reference, unconsciously, on how to live as a human. But new souls to Earth do not have that background and would be totally lost, except for an ingenious concept that has been developed on the spirit side called imprinting. When the soul is on the spirit side, it is shown the type of life it will be entering next, and it makes a plan of what it hopes it will be able to accomplish. It also makes contracts with various souls to work out any lingering karma. If the soul has no Earth experience to fall back on, they are taken to the library. Many of my clients have described this library the same way. It is where all knowledge guys kept everything that is known and will ever be known. It also has the Akashic records, which are the records of every life that has ever been lived since the creation. Through much discussion and advice with the librarian, the soul picks out lifetimes that it wants to be imprinted upon its soul pattern. These have been compared to an overlay or a film. It is rather like going to a library to do research and poring over countless volumes or books to find the correct information. This imprinting becomes an essential part of the new soul's memory.